Good day, campers. Today I'm going to install a QWORK or QWORK, however it's pronounced, battery monitor in my toy hauler. Some people also call it a shunt. Most battery monitors will install much the same as this one. A battery monitor is kind of a handy little tool. It can be handy no matter how your coach is set up. Provides a lot of information on the condition of your batteries, which can be very handy anytime there's a problem with your 12-volt system. This video is intended for anyone that's a little bit hesitant to tackle this kind of a project. The idea is to show each and every step and eliminate as many surprises as possible. I've written down what I've learned in my research. That's why the computer is sitting here. A few years ago, I installed a small automotive voltmeter inside my coach. To help me, it was kind of an inexpensive way to help me keep track of my batteries. Since I put in that voltmeter, I've added some solar. I've added a large 12-volt RV refrigerator and kind of figured I needed some more information. The monitor that I found is a fairly inexpensive one. It's about $40 on Amazon. But the things needed to do the actual install can kind of add up. My install was just less than $100. Along with the monitor itself, you'll need a hole saw to cut the hole where the meter's actually going to mount. You will need a large gauge wire. I'm using a double-aught that's 18 inches long to connect the shunt to the batteries. Depending on length, sometimes you can buy this just the ground cable. Sometimes you have to buy both. More on that later. And you'll need 2 small screws to actually mount the shunt to your battery box. There are links to everything in the description of this video. Installation is in 4 parts, and all but the last part, setting up the monitor, can be done in any order you like. This is the meter that you will actually mount somewhere inside your coach. Bear in mind that wherever you mount this, you'll have a cable this size that comes from your battery box up to the meter itself. The kit comes with a 4-meter, approximately 13-foot cable that will connect to the shunt and then run up to your meter. The opening for this meter has to be really, really precise because of this very, very small lip. You don't have a lot of margin for error. The hole saw that I bought is just slightly smaller than the measurement they give me for this. So if it doesn't slop a little bit, I may have to sand the hole a little bit to make it actually fit in the hole. The third part of this is the actual shunt itself. This little device will mount somewhere inside your battery box. You will connect all the wires that right now are connected to your battery. You will move them to this post marked P-. Then the big cable that you buy will go from the B- back to the negative post of your battery. The size of wire you need will depend on your coach. I'm using a double-aught because my starter, because this is a toy hauler, will actually go through the shunt. I want to make sure that the cable can handle the current from that starter. The bolt in this is, as you can see, it's kind of short, so the number of lugs and the number of wires that you can connect to this is kind of limited. The nice thing is these bolts come out really, really easy. So if you need a longer bolt, go to your hardware store, buy a stainless steel 3/8 and replace the bolt. Because these are so easy to remove, some people actually remove this plastic piece and mount the shunt directly to your battery post. If your post is long enough, mine is not. I'm going to install the meter first. Since I have to make an existing hole bigger, I will use a hack I learned on YouTube to actually cut the hole. Next, I'll do the battery part and then route the cable. Lastly, stick around till the end of the video. After I decipher the setup instructions, I'll go over the actual setup. I'll need to tell the monitor what size batteries I have and set the fully charged point. A quick note about the instructions. These are the instructions that come in the box. Who in the world can read this? The good news is that if you go to Amazon for this particular battery monitor, it actually has all of these instructions in the description. I'll bring those up on my computer when I actually go to set up the battery monitor. So let's get to it. The meter's installed. As it works out with the size hole saw that I bought, the little bit of movement from drilling the hole made the meter fit perfect. In fact, it's a little snug, but it went in all the way. This is the mounting bracket. I had to cut it because of the thickness of my cabinet. You may not have to. There's a stud on the back of the meter. This hole goes over that stud, and then the wing nut threads on to hold it in place. In the battery compartment now, the shunt is actually installed, mounted to the wall. These 5 wires were originally connected to the grounds of my 2 batteries. They're now all connected here. My 18-inch double-aught cable runs from the B- side of the shunt to my battery. This is the plus that it needs to operate the meter up in the cabinet. The next step is to actually route the cable. One quick little correction here. While the cable that runs is a female on both ends, the connectors are keyed differently. The end that goes up by the meter has a single tab. The end that goes down here by the shunt has 2 tabs. I routed mine backwards. I'm going to have to do it again. Everything's routed, hooked up, and functioning. Not going to spend a lot of time on routing because unless you have a Grand Design Momentum toy hauler, your routing is going to be different than mine. But what I have done is, that's the connector where it connects to the shunt. I followed existing wire harness up and through the wall to the basement. This is where it comes through the wall from the battery compartment. Follows an existing harness, goes across the roof, attaches to this wall, and then goes up through the bottom into the wall where my actual meter is. Okay, so once the meter's hooked up and has run for a period of time, the first button is voltage. Second button is current. That tells you whether you're charging or discharging. The third button is percentage of charge. To set this at 100%, you want to let the system run long enough that your current is down to almost nothing. And if you press this a second time, then you can set how many amp hours with the up arrow and the down arrow. Then over here, to set it at 100%, just press and hold, and then it will set to 100%.
But it's 1,000%.
It's 100.0. That completes the installation. As always, thanks for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe.